Hi guys, and welcome to episode 16 of the Gungeon in the Gungeon. I'd like to thank everyone for the likes, subscribes, and comments. If you can continue to do that and make an old man very happy, that would be wonderful.
Yes.
And, support my channel, guys, because I'm hoping sometime or another I might make it, pretty big on these.
I think you will.
On these YouTube. I don't know, man. I don't think I'm smart. I don't think I'm smart enough yet to do this kind of stuff yet.
Trust me.
I'm an old guy.
Smart to get up there. All right?
Well, in the beginning it was scary for me. I was scared to talk into a mic, to a camera. Who the hell talks into a camera?
Yeah, this is the second time I've done this, so.
Yeah, but you know what? The first time he did it, guys, I hope you liked our video. He did a really good job. He brought a phenomenal firearm over, and it was great because he's kind of like I am. We like the old style kind of firearms, and
Yes, it's like cars. It's
Yeah.
like the better ones.
Yeah. And we also, we work together. Like I said in the last video, we see each other really every single day at work. Can't tell you where we work again because of conflict of interest, I would say. And, kind of, they don't like anything public or to be talked about. Everything likes to be private where we work. So, I can mention our first names, which you've met my son already. And now in the last video, you met Austin. And he's back again for... episode 16 here, and we're going to talk about another nice little firearm that he has in his collection. And I'm going to ask him a couple questions about it, and he's going to tell me about it, and he's going to tell you all about it too, and explain some things about it, and why he bought it, and why he likes it, or how he got it. So, what do you think, Aust?
Well,
what are we dealing with?
We're dealing with a Colt Positive Pocket 32 police cartridge revolver. It is a 6-shot one, which is kind of I don't know if that's, I can't remember if that's a rare thing.
Is it
or not.
rare 6-shot? I thought they were all 5-shot.
I believe there might have been all 5 shots. That's a 6-shot, and this one being older than even the Mosin we just did. This is made in 1907 by a serial number lookup. Don't know where it originally came from. Don't know really much. This was given to me as a gift from a family member. All the transfer stuff has been done. I have shot this only a few times, and it does have a small problem with the hammer firing pin. It likes to puncture the primers. That could be just the primers are soft now. It's not hard enough for the firing pin. Could be one of those things where it also could be a firing pin problem where they narrow down on the older ones, and they'll actually act like a nail punching through the primer, so it swells up and causes out of the primer detonation almost. It swells it up and it prevents it from actually rotating the cylinder.
Oh, really?
Because of that, yeah.
Now, you know what I noticed, though, with my Colt that I have down there, my 32 Colt, I purchased that. I know you got yours inherited. I purchased mine from actually a local gun store. I think I told you a long time ago, from one that looks really cool inside and got all those really neat designs. And a matter of fact, they just had a big sale this past weekend that your mom told me about, and we had to have a ticket in order to get certain pods. So now you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't want to say, guys, because I don't have the permission, even though I did talk to this firearm store already, but they do a podcast themselves, and I don't want to intervene on their stuff, and I got with one of the owners, and he didn't get back with me, so I really don't want to mention it just because of respect. So but yeah, I purchased this from them actually, and it was really wild how I got it, and this was pre-pandemic, so I think it's been 4 years, I think it was, something like that.
Probably about
4 or 5 years ago.
4 years.
I purchased mine for $89.
89?
That down there is $89.
That was basically a steal.
Well, Alex was, you know how Alex is. He likes to look at all the big stuff. He don't go for stuff. Yeah. He don't. You know my son. He don't like to go for the little stuff. He wants to go for the monstrosities. For some reason, this is what he buys.
I can understand that though.
Yeah, I mean, well, you guys are almost the same age, so yeah, I can kind of understand how you guys go for it. But the old fart here can't turn around and do stuff like that. But I saw that in there, and the worst part is you know what? My wife, and it was me and him in the store, but my wife and his last I don't know how you call it, girlfriend, I guess, was there too. And you know how you have to still wait for the background checks.
Yeah.
they did not want to wait for that background check. So I kind of got yelled at when I walked out because it took so long, because they were sitting in the car for an hour and a half while the background checks were. But you know the worst part though is that weekend there was a gun show. So what happens when there's a gun show? Background checks could be 5 hours.
Yes,
you know,
especially when you get 30, 40 people trying to buy a gun at once in the same system at the same place.
Yeah, at the same place. And you know, that day we had, matter of fact, I think that day there was a 6 hour event going on, where 6 hour goes in and they'll bring a certain amount of guns and they'll sell them at a certain price. You know, and I can't say prices because guys, 6 hour and Smith & Wesson and Glock, you're not allowed to really talk about their pricing. No. It is against their policies and their rules. So you will not hear me talk about what I paid for any of those kind of things, you know, or what I would pay new for them, because that's a legality issue that I want nothing to do with. So
sketchy.
That Colt there, they don't really have a problem with it, so that's why I kind of told you that. But yeah, and any of the military surplus that we sold you recently, there's not a problem with. Some companies don't really care if we mention the prices, like Taurus and, you know, Smith & Wesson. Some of them don't care, but Ruger and stuff like that. But some of them really, and some of the harder ones are SIG and Glocks. They really do not like mentioning prices of what you pay for things and when you talk about them. That's just, you know, I've seen it so many times on YouTube videos that even companies, you know, people who have their on the channel and are showing, they can't even mention the prices of what they pay.
Apparently, it's a very, I don't know exactly the reason why they don't allow other people to say their prices.
To me, you're promoting their product.
Yeah,
I mean, you know,
that's promoting. Hey, see someone say, oh, that's a really good price. Maybe I'll go look for one.
Yeah, or maybe I'll buy one. But for some reason, guys, they just do not like people to say prices, and I think it's a little bit crazy. But you know, hey, I don't down any firearms, and neither does he any companies or manufacturers. We don't down ammunition manufacturers because that's just not what we're here to do.
Now, unless it's a safety thing.
Yes.
At that point, no.
Right, and there's been firearms in the past that I talked about, names that one started with a J, and he knows probably the one I'm talking about, that I'd rather throw it at you than shoot you with it because you're going to have a problem. But
it's because more effective.
Yes, it's more effective actually because it's a jamming issue that it would always have, at least that I had with it in the 9mm. So I don't really like to talk about bad stuff. And you know, people who do talk about some of these things that they don't care for, like the high points. Well, I have no problem with it.
You could torture those to oblivion. You can stuff. I've seen people stuff them with concrete and stuff like that.
Yeah,
shoot it.
You know,
and it in some cases, don't do this. Obviously, don't do this.
Safety. Don't do this.
The barrel's completely fine. No bulges, nothing. You get it checked out by a gunsmith. It says completely fine.
Yeah.
I don't know how it does it. That's in 45s, 9mm, high points. I don't know how they do it.
And the Kel-Tecs, too. You know, Kel-Tecs are the same way. A lot of people want to, you know, badmouth Kel-Tecs, and, you know.
They could be sometimes awkward.
I mean,
I can understand that.
I do. But it's just, you know, I don't feel that we, you know, I'm not a professional, and neither are you. We're here, like I said, and we're unscripted. But I don't feel that, you know, to me, bad-mouthing any manufacturer is not a really good thing to do. Because you know what? That might be one of our sponsors one of these days.
Yeah.
And, you know, we might talk about the guns, you know, and what they have. So why bad-mouth it, you know? Everybody has different experiences. God, you can have name brand ones, and which I've had before. The big firearm names that everybody knows about, I've had some issues with them before. But yet I get some of the ones that people don't care for. And you know one of them? Taurus. How many times have you heard about? But you know what? All my Tauruses.
All my Tauruses are fantastic.
Mine are. I've never the G2s, the G3s.
My Raging Bull that is 44 Magnum. I love. That's the best 44 Magnum I ever shot.
And I have a Taurus 44 Magnum, a revolver there. And
I just bought a tracker. It was a 627. 357 Magnum, 7-shot one.
See? And have you had a problem? No.
I did notice something because they thread their barrels on. Sometimes they, because they torque them, kind of like a lug nuts on a car and stuff like that. Mine was actually off, twisted off.
Oh, really?
So it's not. I don't think it's a safety issue. Well, it's not. I still have to go. This is one thing I am sad about, that Taurus does not email. They don't have email. They have faxing and calling them.
Really?
Because I was gonna email them and show them a picture of what exactly I'm talking about, but though. But
well, you know what I heard though about Taurus and about a couple of them. They're actually, when people talk about their firearms, they're actually changing some of the things. Some of these firearm companies are actually listening to what customers and people are saying about them, and they're actually making a lot of good changes.
Yeah.
A lot of these manufacturers are doing really good changes towards some of these firearms.
I wish Taurus would go to the Smith & Wesson way of mounting the barrels, where they press it on and
Press
pin
it on, yeah.
It's just a better method in my opinion, especially when you have it's reverse threads at that. Torque something on, and you can have just that fine minute in threads where it, mind you, the front sight's connected to that barrel, so it cants it just a little bit. That can throw off accuracy, and also since it's ported, it can snap a different way or push a different way that's awkward. Obviously, training helps with that. Then with that specific firearm, you can overcome that. But it's yeah.
And you know what I heard too? A fun fact, real quick. I heard before we get back to that.
Yes.
Do you know where Heritage Rough Riders are actually produced? Who makes them?
I cannot remember.
Taurus.
Taurus?
Yes.
Really?
I found that out, and you know what? They're manufactured here in Florida.
Yeah. Yeah, they have
At
a
the
place
Taurus,
over in Miami.
Yes, a Taurus plant in Miami.
They also have one up in Georgia.
They're actually manufacturing the Heritage Rough Riders and
It used
stuff.
to be originally from Brazil.
Yeah, originally.
Yeah.
Originally, yes. And I even have the Ruger Wrangler.
Yeah.
I have one of those too. I had bought another one of those for my dad. I got it down there in a Pearl
My
grip.
Raging Bull that I got is a Brazilian one.
Really?
When they made them, yeah. Then I only bought that a few years ago, but yeah, that's a Brazilian one. But yeah.
Well, getting back to this little pretty firearm here.
Yes.
The only difference that I want to ask you though, how come mine is a lot bigger than yours?
I really don't know, unless that was an actual police gun, because it does say 32 police cartridge on it for the caliber. That's all I can think. Like, it's a backup for them then. I know at that time they were having a really bad controversy on 38 Special and 32 ACP, and so, or now it's referred to as 32 ACP. I think it was just 32 police cartridge or special.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Where they were having those problems around then, because this is around the time when they were making the 1911, when the first kind of plans were drawn up for, or at least the first ones actually made, then and testing. But yeah, I really don't know. I've tried looking for it, but there's no real reason I could find a concrete reason why that's so much smaller, especially the stubby little barrel. Yeah, I don't know.
How hard is it for you to get the ammo for it?
Not too bad. It's obviously like not very well used ammunition, 32 ACP, but it's out there. I had to go through 2 different gun shops before I found a box, or at least they had a case of them actually. I just bought a box just to test it. And then
I had to do that too at a gun place up on Fletcher Avenue. I went in there and I actually, because I couldn't find it anywhere. I went to a few that were around in Tampa that we've been to them before. We know them. You know the gun stores as much as I know.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find it myself. But one day I had walked inside of there, and this specific gun store actually had some, but it was hidden in an area that was where the 38s were. And he found me a box.
Really?
Yes. Just like, when I bought my Glock 17, I bought it from him, Gen 1. I never thought that they would have a Glock 17 Gen 1. Never. Because I looked all over the place for one. And here I was able to walk in this store, and guys, there again, I can't mention the name, but it's a store that's in Tampa, and they have a lot of things you'd be surprised. It's a pawn store, actually. But when you walk in there, you'll be surprised at what you see. And they have a lot of stuff that normal places don't really have.
Check out your local pawn shop.
Oh yeah, and people always
hide that stuff.
I talked about that in a video before about used guns. People, I think, are afraid to buy a used firearm, but in most of these pawn shops, if you ask them, like I've asked a couple of them, can you really go through this firearm and tell me if everything is good?
Yeah, or if they have, especially if they have on-site gunsmith, ask them to actually, if they haven't already, look over, actually do a full check, head spacing, all that. They'll usually do that.
Yeah.
And if sometimes, if you really need to, ask them if they can take it to a gunsmith, and if they can guarantee, this is all right, I'll buy it. That's sometimes they'll do that too.
Yeah, and I've noticed that it's and people people, I know people are a little bit scared because I've talked to some people scared about buying used firearms.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's nothing wrong. If you're on a budget, especially in today's economy, you know it just like I know
terrible,
it.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Our current administration, just like you would agree with me, sucks.
It's a lot better than a lot of other places, but yeah, it's terrible.
But yeah, our current...
Our
current administration sucks. You know it as well as I do, and hopefully we get it changed here soon. So things might change a little bit. But I go in and I see things sometimes that are perfectly good for me, and I know these guys because I know they go through them, and they just don't take anything in without first going through it.
Yeah, going through it and making sure it's authentic,
safe,
and not tampered,
and it's safe. That's one of the things I've noticed about guys and the places that I go to. They make sure that it's safe for people to fire up. So anyway, back to this. Is there any safety? Where's the safety on this little thing? Or is there one?
It's 1907. Safety is your finger.
I guess you're right. Safety
if you have a reason to point it, you have a good reason to point it.
Yeah, no, you're extremely right there, guys. That's me being stupid right there because. I knew that, but he was going to tell me that fact, but I just wanted to act like an idiot because some people would ask that question. Where's there a safety?
No, because that's knowledge of the weapon.
Yeah, knowledge of the weapon. But anyway, when you took it to the range and you fired it, how was it?
It actually shot very accurately. I wasn't nothing to sneeze at recoil about or anything, even though it's snub nose. It's a little 32. It was actually pretty accurate. I wouldn't say it's the most accurate gun, obviously, but. That I actually quite liked it. It was just unfortunate. I would have kept shooting and shot the whole box, the whole 50-round box that I have, if it wasn't having those primer issues, it puncturing the primers. So I had to look into see if there's harder primers or rounds with harder primers on them. See if that it helps, and if it still punctures them, then I know for sure it is the firing pin on the hammer.
Okay. Is it a smooth rolling cylinder you have there? Nice and smooth? Does she spin real nice and easy?
Yeah.
Nice and nice. See, that's what I like, guys, about revolvers. I don't know about you, but I'm a revolver fan.
Oh, the smoothness of it, absolutely. Especially, you get after a long day of shooting, it gets a little grimy and once you clean it, and then you have to give it the test spin.
The old, like they do.
Is it clean enough?
And the Wild Wild West spin. Just to see, I think they did that in a movie. A while back when they played that Russian roulette back in the day. What was the name of that movie? Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, Apocalypse Now.
And they did that where he spun, you put one round in the cylinder and you spin it, and it was Russian roulette. And, unfortunately, you get that one and you point it to your head, and you got either you're lucky or you're not too lucky.
Little disclaimer: don't do Russian roulette.
Don't do stupid stuff, guys. Me and him are here and we're talking about things, but we also like to talk about safety.
Yes.
And don't do stupid things with guns. And I know a lot of times that I've seen on these TikTok videos that people do some
around.
Or
whatever.
People don't understand what they're dealing with, and I think that's a big problem. And I see these people putting guns like this when you're aiming at it. Now, what good is this? We're not in movies.
No.
And really, how accurate are you going to be? Now, I have seen that if you cock a little bit sometimes with certain firearms, that it does slight canter
Very
does
slight.
Actually
towards the inside, towards your chest.
Right, a slight canter does actually do pretty good sometimes on certain firearms, but on most of the ones that I have that I've fired, no, I don't do that little slight canter. I think it's just I'm fine the way I am, and. So like you said, you required it from a family member as a gift. Stainless steel, not stainless steel, but what's the finish on? Is it?
That's blue.
Blued. Okay.
Old-fashioned blued.
Uh-huh.
And stippled hand grip, I think. Stippled. At least, or checkered. My bad. Checkered.
Okay. How's the trigger on it?
Not bad. It's 1907. It's not going to be the greatest thing, but compared to some firearms, I ain't going to mention them, it's a lot better.
We're not getting into some firearms. Like I said, we're not going to badmouth any firearm companies because everybody has the glitches. But you have production runs, you have improvements, just like cars. You have those first few years of production, and you find the problems in them. Hopefully, you actually fix them, and then you release new and improved versions. Like a good example is
like the Springfields or the M14s or M4s and stuff like that, where they had the M4 carbine and then M4A1, M4A2, M4A3. Of course, that's different setups now, but having those different improvements like the slap assist, the slap around, and if it's a little grimy and you need to get it home to save yourself or someone else, it's a good example. It's like,
no, those are all good tips. I mean, as far as ease of getting this kind of firearm, is it pretty easy to get it? I mean,
I haven't really looked to see how easy it is. I maybe.
I mean, not in that year. I mean, I know it's going to be kind of rare to get it in that year.
Yeah.
That's going to be extremely rare.
Yeah.
But the newer version, I'm wondering if it would be an easy for someone to purchase. On a, and I'm not saying, guys, that you're on a budget and this is a budget gun, because I'm not sure what these run now. I mean, like I said, I know what mine cost me, but that was 5 years ago. Now things have doubled and tripled on mostly all the firearms that I do have, and I know his the same way. But actually, this would be a neat little carry gun, if you want to know the truth.
Yeah, that'd be a little boot gun.
Yeah, exactly, a little boot gun, or even for a young lady, in her purse.
It doesn't kick much. The ammunition is hard. It's kind of hard to find, but it's cheap. I mean, I paid $20 for the box, 50.
Yeah,
for it. I mean, it's.
Yeah, I think I paid. It was right around $20 for a box of 50 rounds.
It's cheap ammo. It's good to go fire all the time to practice. And it's reliable too. I mean,
and it's a good round. It's actually a good round.
Yeah, it's actually for what it is.
I mean, and if the police use it, I mean, you got to say that it had to have been good, because their lives were in danger, so they had to have something reliable to shoot. And
that is actually one of the reasons why they changed it. They wanted more stopping power, because a lot of times they had to put 3, 4 into a I guess you could say, I wouldn't say a criminal, but a subject, a potential threat.
Potential threat. There you go.
And to neutralize them, that's the practice that they go for, to neutralize the threat, so it's not any more threat to them or anyone else. So that was one of the things they really wanted, was a bigger caliber, or something at least a little more stopping power. And I believe they went over to, I think, 45 at that time. I might be wrong. I can't remember all the calibers they've tried, or at least used.
And guys, I'd like to say too that what you just brought up a second ago about neutralizing, the police get a bad name right now because of a lot of things that have gone on recently, but they try hard, guys, and I give them a lot of respect for going to work every single day and putting their lives on the line.
And they work some terrible hours, long days,
right? And like I said, I did this video on PTSD on first responders before, but they've got a lot of situations that they have to deal with, and they do try to neutralize the situation first.
Yes, they try to have to. I guess you could say calm the situation instead of escalating
and using deadly force if they don't have
deadly
to.
force. There's specific sets of rules and procedures they have to follow in order for it to reach that level. So an example, if you pull out a gun, they already assume you're going to use it for lethal force. You're going to use it to harm somebody. It will result in the death of somebody if they're not treated and stuff, and they're not able to treat them. So that's a justifiable cause for them to neutralize you. Now, neutralizing does not mean kill. It means to disable from further, I guess, threatening
of
situation
or yourself.
Poor wording. Apologize.
No. He did actually good wording there. It's true. It's true.
Yeah, they're working hard,
and they're dealing with a lot of different stuff. And now, because of the recent events that we've had in the past few years, they've had to actually even back off even more than what it has been of certain situations. And you know what, guys, this is the thing. All lives matter here. They all do.
Yes,
we don't matter what color, race, creed, where you come from, it doesn't matter. All lives matter. So we don't pinpoint only one set of people or one set of whatever. All lives matter. Everything matters. And that's the way it should be. And I think because of recent events that have happened in the past that, things have went the wrong way. And I think that
misunderstood.
Now, yes,
very, very badly.
Very badly. And, you do have some bad, and I don't want to say, but there are some not so perfect, maybe I would use the word as people of law, let's put it that way, as an easier term. Maybe you do have some that jump the gun a little bit quickly. No pun intended, but jump the conclusions.
Or even some that do abuse their
authority.
Their authority, which we're not saying that, there is none. There are some. And if they are, then report them.
Report them, by all means. By all means, no, they don't need to be in their job, By all means, report them. Do what you got to do, But... and there's been a string lately of that kind of stuff with people being fake officers.
And that
has been just wild, man. We've seen a lot, about 3 or 4 times here in Florida. Just
3 or 4 times.
In the last 3 or 4 months, we've seen that situation happen.
It's starting to get terrible.
Yeah, it's starting to get ridiculous, and they're scaring poor people when, and doing all kinds of bad things, and so, if you have a police officer, guys, pull you over, do what they ask, and you know what? Look for a badge and ask to see a badge and ask to see ID. Yeah. You are allowed to do that. Yes. You are legally allowed to do that. If you feel that this is not right or you feel something's wrong, you are allowed to do that by law, is to ask for their badge and to ask for some identification. But do me a favor, please listen to what they say.
Yes.
And
just follow instructions. Don't be rummaging around in your car and all that. That makes them all skittish and all that. Yes. That's because that's part of their training.
Right. And the first thing that I will tell somebody is, if you carry a firearm, please make sure when that officer pulls you over, you let them know immediately that you have a firearm in your vehicle. Because that has happened to me in the past, where I have been pulled over by a police officer long time ago. I want to say about 5 or 6 years ago, where I lived before. And immediately when he came to my car, I told him that I have a concealed carry permit and I do have a firearm in the car. He asked me where it was at. I showed him where it was at. That's all he wanted to know. And matter of fact, he said, "Thank you so much for doing that for me."
To be honest, if I remember right from my training for concealed carry, Florida, you actually don't have to state it. That's purely a choice. Now, if they do ask you if you do have a firearm in the car, yes, then you do have to tell them where it's at. Well, it's not about in the state of Georgia. For any Florida residents, if you get pulled over there or in the presence of an officer, if I remember right, you have to state to them immediately you have a firearm and where it's at.
I just kind of do that on a safe practice anyway, because I don't, because of my job, our job, and how scrutinized things can be if it has to, and we're watched, that I always will tell them that I do have a concealed carry and I have one in the car right now, and I will tell them where it's at.
Good practice to tell them, seriously. That does let them be more comfortable that you're being honest with what's in your vehicle and stuff like that, and it leads to actually less suspicion at that point.
Right, and it does. It lessens the suspicion, where they won't take things, for because a lot of times that I had noticed that a lot of people will fumble around in their cars, or because I did a ride along a long time ago, and rest in peace with a gentleman who passed away, a police officer not too long ago. He was a motorcycle cop for Hillsborough County Sheriff. Good friend of mine, passed away a while back, and like I said, condolences to his family and R.I.P. to him. A great friend. I worked with him for a few years, but I did a ride along with him, and a lot of people would, we pulled him over. There was a lot of skittishness going on.
Yeah.
And the first thing that they're going to think is, what do you have? What do you got? Yeah. What are you hiding?
What are you hiding?
Yeah, exactly. That's the first thing they're going to. Yeah. What are you hiding? So guys, just obey. You know what I mean? Obey, and everything will be fine. Everything will turn out fine. Anyway, getting back to the gun, because we get off topic sometimes when we do talk. But anything else that you'd like to add to it, and what would you like to say? A little bit more. I mean,
I don't really have much more on that. I couldn't really find, like I said, any facts of any different versions, different sizes, why it's so small. At least that I could clearly find in the quick searching I did. Of course, I could sit down for a whole day, 2-3 days, and then probably find something. At least, even if it was fictional, at least find something that could be a good joke. But I don't.
Mind if I pick it up?
Go ahead.
I just want to see.
Go ahead.
I want to see, man. Yeah, I want I know you always let me mess around too with your firearms, but this is a cool little thing, man. I didn't know you had this.
Yeah.
This is actually pretty neat. I actually like this. And guys, notice where I'm aiming this.
Yes.
Notice how my hand is nowhere on the trigger, and where I'm aiming it at. I'm not aiming it at him or aiming it at me. I'm aiming it towards the ground. And watch my finger placement as I'm holding on to it. It's even though you can hold it different ways, just not on the trigger. You know, so I'm just looking at it on both sides. Yeah, revolvers. Yeah, you don't want to do that. And I have my hammerless one in there that has no safety. So yeah. But this is a neat little item here, man. I didn't know you had this. This is pretty cool. I see it. I could
you can open it if you want.
No, I'm good. I just wanted to look at it. I wanted to feel it, see how the weight was on it. Doesn't seem like it's kind of not that bad. No, as far as heaviness, this would be a great boot gun.
Yeah.
Actually, a great pocket little gun. I might have to ask you if I can buy this one. You probably won't. And I, you know what, guys, we don't sell.
You can't afterwards.
It will get when it's given by a family relative. I have here recently. I've had a string of guys at work, and I'm getting ready to purchase probably 3 of them from someone. Family firearms, and I've talked about mine that my dad, a couple of them that I had engraved that my father gave me. If I do purchase these 3, I'm not going to sell any of them because there's going to be a time when, in the heat of the moment, we don't think. And selling your dad's guns that they give you, or mom, or what have you, or grandfather.
Yeah, allow them the first opportunity to buy them back if they want them.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I plan to do, guys. I will keep it in a safe place and give you an opportunity to buy the firearm back at what I paid you for it.
Yeah,
at what I paid,
or even less.
Yeah. If it's just we're not here to rob anybody of anything when we buy our firearms. We're here to
preserve them and
keep them and enjoy it. Because we do love firearms, and that's just how we are. And so we don't. I always will. And I told this person recently that I will keep these in case he ever wants them back. And I bought that double barrel from that guy that I told you about a while back.
Yeah.
And he said he had no family or anything like that. But just in case, I'm keeping it there because in case because he's got my phone number, maybe a relative might want it as a remembrance. Yeah. And, so I'm keeping it put away. And, that's what I'll do with any of them that I buy. I'll just keep them put away if they're from family relatives. And, I've got a lot of people who ask me all the time, how many I got sent yesterday by another co-worker of ours. He sent me a picture of a 686 Smith & Wesson. 686. But the problem that the person's asking way too much. And the reason why I tell you that is Chamberlain 44.
Oh.
So,
already. Yeah, it's kind of a...
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it useful? No, because if you had a 357, you can use 2 different calibers.
Yeah.
44 mag.
3.
Yeah. Well, yeah, 3. 3. If you had a 44 mag.
Now, if you had a 454 Casull.
That's a different story. Now, if that would have came across and he showed me that.
You could use. Oh man.
Oh yes,
you can use a lot of different calibers in that too.
Yeah, dude, you're looking at. I would have probably said, go for it all the way or whatever. But when you're dealing with a 44 mag, and I have one and you have one, you can't use you can only. It's more of a play type of firearm, not really for. Especially with a long barrel
gun.
Exactly,
a very good outdoor defense gun.
Yeah,
fantastic gun.
Yeah, and but you can't carry it. It's just too dang big.
No,
you're not carrying it anywhere. You know what I mean? And then the ammo for it is not.
It's starting to get hard.
To get even harder, and it's getting more expensive.
I don't know why it's getting harder to find. There's a point where the Hornady and all the Remington used to make a lot of it, and then all of a sudden, a month later, after seeing all this ammunition, it just disappeared, and I haven't seen any since.
No, ammunition is dissipating. I mean, if you go into one of our local chains, the big chain, Rule King, dude, everything's empty.
Why is that?
I don't know. And now, firearms, a ton.
Oh, yeah, a ton of firearms. Absolutely.
But when you have the ammunition for them,
do you think there's some companies or something out there buying them in bulk pallets and before they get to the shelves?
I do know that I can tell you this, that I did see a pellet go to someone of 223 and 556, a pellet. I can't say who, but I did see one go. Now that was a whole pallet. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Is it because of maybe our current administration is trying to stop the ammo situation?
Maybe it might be.
I mean, but I think if that was the case, the NRA would step in.
Yeah.
And there would be a whole.
At that point, you're affecting a lot more than just ammo.
Yes, you're affecting
the ability to be able to exercise your
Second Amendment right and defend yourself, defend your family. And what's the most important thing nowadays? Defending your family.
Yeah.
Or defending yourself. That's the most important things. And that's what I talked about in the last video. That we can get all these play guns, all we want, the Mosins, but the most important thing is safety first.
Yeah.
You got to have your tools, and your tools are protecting your family. And I always say, and people might not agree with me, and I don't know if you do, but I always say a shotgun is the way to go if you're going to home defense. People are different; they have different opinions, but I say a shotgun. Because once you hear that click click.
usually that gets you to stop in your tracks, and the hair stands up.
Yeah, the hair stands up a little bit.
Oh no!
Yeah, or this Black Aces pull up.
If you know what click click
means, yeah,
you might not know and still go and that's just the floor, and then that's
yeah. And if you like these bullpup, this Black Aces tactical bullpup,
I need one of those.
You need one of those?
I need one of those.
I'm gonna tell you right now where you can get a really good price on one, and they're not afraid to talk about it, and you can actually. If you get on it right now, I had a guy call me the other day, and you know who's got a very good price on and I looked at a review on it, and that's the Tokarev 12 gauge bullpup for guys, and I can say this company because they're actually all over. Palmetto State Armory.
Palmetto State Armory. I love Palmetto.
They have a Tokarev.
Heck, I think they even make
their PSA daggers.
Post-production M1 Grands from
and
stuff
do.
like that.
Yeah, and did you see their PSA daggers they've done some different things with their PSA daggers. But the Tokarev, I looked at a review on the Tokarev, and it looks a little bit like an AR-15 style. Yeah. I mean, it's actually pretty neat. This I bought probably about 5 years ago, I think 4 or 5 years ago.
I really do like the finish on that.
Yeah, the Cerakote. You like the way the Cerakote is on that?
It's almost like a worn two-tone.
Two-tone, yeah. And you like my mag?
Yeah, that's nice.
I got 2 of those mags that came with it, and it also came with an extra set of sights, and the front sight goes like this with 2 fingers, and the rear sight does this with the fingers up like that.
What?
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
It's actually really neat. Came with the firearm when I bought it and the case and everything. But yeah, I bought it from a store here in locally, and I liked it, and I liked the color of it, and it was just really neat. And I got a little Picatinny rail up there, side rails.
Is that Class 3?
Yes, it is. It's so yeah. I enjoy. You know what though? I haven't fired it yet.
No.
I haven't fired it yet. No, not the first round through it yet. Still brand new. I haven't done anything yet. Like half of the shit that's in here, I haven't done anything to. But anyway, guys, thanks for joining us today for another episode of again Austin here. Thanks him again for coming and sitting with us and doing another episode. Anyway, thanks for all the likes and subscribes and comments. Please comment and like our channel, and you'll see us again. Again, peace out from the Gungeon. Have a great day.
See y'all.